Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for another Ninjago video. Sometimes Ninjago, being a show that is running now for 11 seasons, has a tendency to repeat stories or plots. And so in this video, I'm pointing out 10 things that Ninjago has a tendency to repeat, or 10 things that have been done too many times. So let's deal with the elephant in the room first. Snake villains have appeared so many times in Ninjago at this point. We have had, of course, the first season, which is all about the Serpentine, and this season was okay because it was the first time with the snakes. But then the mystery of the Anaconda is unveiled in Season 4 when they return, and the snakes were also kind of villains throughout the first half of Season 2. And then it really starts to get repetitive in Season 7 when we have the Vermilion Army, which to be fair is a bit different from the Serpentine. But then Season 11 introduces a new tribe of Serpentine called the Pyro Vipers. Although each variation of Serpentine is slightly different from the last one, Ninjago really does love to throw at us new snake villains all the time, and that's something that has been done a lot in Ninjago. Ever since the concept of elemental powers was kind of introduced in Season 3, having the ninja getting their powers stolen by our villain has been a thing that's been done so many times. Started out with Lloyd's golden power getting stolen by the Overlord, and this is the only instance where Lloyd never regained this power afterwards. Then in Season 4, we have an entire season based around Chen stealing the powers of people. And, well, it starts getting repetitive in Season 5, when Mora possesses Lloyd, and all the ninja's powers go inactive. And then, of course, in Season 8 and Season 9, Lloyd loses his element of energy after the disastrous fight with Garmadon and eventually regains it. And to top it all off, we have Kai, who gets his powers stolen by the Pyro Vipers in Season 11, and spoiler alert, in the Ice chapter, of course, his powers are back. What sucks is that every time, except for the Golden Power incident, the ninja get their powers back, and at this point, it's just become such a predictable storyline. Of course, you have your good instances, such as Lloyd in Season 9, that was an awesome arc, but it's just getting really repetitive, and I would love to see a ninja permanently lose their power for once. Zane is the ninja essentially known for always sacrificing himself, and ever since he became in his titanium form, the writers love to do damage to him and have him malfunction a lot, and let's count down every time this has happened. Well, of course, there's the obvious instance in Season 3 when he actually dies, and then it happens in Season 5 where he malfunctions after getting hit by that wooden pole. And then again, it happens in Season 7 where Zane is just completely malfunctioning and his voice isn't working at all, he's just saying random garbage. And then in Season 8 he nearly dies, and in Season 11 he gets banished to the Netherrealm when he sacrifices himself yet again. And there always seems to be some sort of tragic incident with Zane, and that tends to happen a lot, especially him malfunctioning in a way, of course, since he's a robot, or coming near death. So yeah, I mean, that has happened so many times at this point. Ever since the original 2 seasons, backstories became more important to a Ninjago villain. Let's talk about every time a villain has had some sort of history or conflict in the past with Wu and Garmadon. Well, we have Moro first, who used to be Wu's student and tried to prove himself. Then we have Chen, who was Garmadon's sensei, and Garmadon used to train with him, with Klaus. And then we also have the Hands of Time, who betrayed the Elemental Masters and were forced to fight Wu and Garmadon in one final battle. And now the 5th villain to have some sort of history is Asphira, and at this point her backstory is just so forgettable because she is that 5th villain. And Wu taught her Spinjitzu, and she was forced to fight Wu and Garmadon and lost. And it's not often that you have a villain who has backstory, but not with Wu and Garmadon, and some of those instances are Nadakana and Harumi. And I think we just need more villains who don't have history with Wu and Garmadon, because at this point that is just getting really old. Alright, here's the other big one. Every time Lloyd has some sort of big role, it's often because he has some story with Garmadon. Whether he has to fight Garmadon like he did in Season 2, Season 8, and Season 9, or he has some other story with the good version of Garmadon like in Season 3, or in Season 4 and Season 5, he always seems to have some story or something with Garmadon in a way. And even in Season 1 when Garmadon comes to save him, and then Season 3 when he goes on adventures with his dad, and Season 4 too, and then Season 5 coping with the loss of his father. And the only seasons where he doesn't really seem to have that much of a Garmadon story are in Season 6 and Season 7. Even in Season 11 he has this brief mirror scene with Garmadon. But yeah, I mean, I love Garmadon, but this is just really repetitive for Lloyd, and I'm glad Season 11 is kind of taking a different turn away from that. Almost every season that the bounty is present in, it either crashes, destroyed, or is synced in some way. Starting in Season 1 when, of course, it is devoured by the Great Devourer, just crushed in one big bite. And then moving on to Season 2 when Dr. Julian has a bit of a freak incident and crashes the bounty in order to save Lloyd, and it is fully destroyed at this point. Then Season 3 and Season 4 get a break while the bounty is getting rebuilt, but in Season 5, during this chase with Morrow, it crashes in the forest. Then in Season 6, the law takes it down and these police sink it down to the ground, and in Season 7, during episode 70, it also sinks to the ground as well. In Season 8, it not only happens once, but twice. That's right, in episode 79, it crashes into the Primeval's Eye, and then in the season finale, the Colossus destroys it. The latest addition to the list is in Season 11, when the land bounty, and I know it's not the official Destiny's bounty, but in the first episode of the Ice chapter, the land bounty goes right over a cliff and plummets to the ground. Oftentimes, especially in older seasons, the villain tries to release some ancient evil. The first instance, and they need artifacts to do this, they need to collect artifacts to release their ancient evil. And the first instance is in Season 1 when Pythor gets the Fang Blades and unleashes the Devourer. Then it happens again in Season 2 when kind of Garmadon teams up with the Overlord and the Overlord takes control of that entire operation. And then in Season 5 with Morrow unleashing the Preeminent. And in Season 4 too with Chen recreating the Anachondrite. And the last time it kind of happened was in Season 8 with Harumi bringing back Garmadon from the dead. So yeah, oftentimes the villain wants to unleash some sort of ancient evil to help them. Of course, there's a big reason for why this is so, and LEGO needs to sell toys. But every season the ninja get new suits and new vehicles without any explanation. There used to be story explanations back in older seasons like the ZX suits, which were resistant to a serpentine bite, or the techno suits, which would hide the ninja's face from facial recognition software. So I thought that was awesome, but now in new seasons, every season the ninja get new vehicles and new suits with no explanation. It's not story motivated anymore, and the old vehicles are just mysteriously disappearing. They just vanish and are never really seen again. I mean, it's LEGO, you have to be introducing new suits and vehicles if you want to sell toys, but there should at least be some sort of story explanation in the show. When a character in Ninjago dies, you can be sure that they're going to come back a few minutes later. And basically, anytime that we've seen a main character die, they usually come back. Of course, we have Zane, who came back later that same episode, and Nia too. When Nia died, she was back too because of the time reversal. Now we have all of the villains from Day of the Departed, who all briefly returned in the 44-minute special, although by the end of the special, they were all back in the Departed realm. And then of course, the big instance is Garmadon, who was actually dead for 3 years in real life, and was brought back in a ritual by Harumi, and is currently alive. The only instance where a Ninjago character has actually been dead for good and has never returned is Dr. Julian. I mean, technically he was brought back to life by Samukai before the series started, but after his death between Season 2 and Season 3, he has never been brought back, and I think it would make it a lot more meaningful if Ninjago characters did not return, because now basically anytime a character dies, you can be sure that they'll return. So oftentimes, and this is the last one on our list, the villain believes that they should be controlling Ninjago and attacks the city some point in the season. Of course, the first example is Garmadon, who wanted to turn Ninjago to darkness, and the Overlord does do this by attacking the city. Then in Season 3, the Golden Master and Nindroids do attack the city a few times. And then in Season 4, we have Chen, who believed he and his cultists should rule Ninjago, and the Preeminent wants to curse all 16 realms, which I do count as wanting control over Ninjago. 2 seasons later, we have the Hands of Time, who believe they are entitled to rule Ninjago due to their power. And then Harumi and Garmadon, who also attack the city and do successfully control Ninjago for a bit. Then we have the Oni, who also want to conquer all 16 realms and do invade Ninjago. And while Asphira does not want to rule over Ninjago, she and the Pyro Vipers do attack Ninjago City at some point. I honestly feel bad for Ninjago City. I mean, it's always getting attacked, but it is nice to see few exceptions to this let's attack Ninjago City and rule Ninjago thing, such as Nauticon, and I wish we could have more villains like him. So that's going to wrap up my list of 10 things that happen too many times in Ninjago. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone and everyone you know. Let me know what you thought of this video and what you would consider to be things that happen too many times in Ninjago, and I will see you next time.